Welcome to the Fishing Musicians with your host, musician, and lover of fishing, Mr. Glen Ferguson. And special guest host, musician, and comedian, Mr. Jimmy Flynn. You know, people everywhere in the whole world love good music. And everywhere you go, people love to go fishing. So join us for the next 30 minutes as we combine the best of both on the Fishing Musicians. The Fishing Musicians is brought to you by FergusonAudio.ca, your total marketing specialist. Now, make any advertising campaign idea a reality with the experience, facilities, and service you can rely on, growing to serve you better.
Well, we're on the Miramichi River, mid-April, for black salmon fishing at O'Donnell's camps. You can visit our website, thefishingmusicians.com, and check out all the links to get you to the Miramichi River. Beautiful camps. Mr. Jimmy Flynn. We're about to do some morning black salmon fishing. Come join us on the Miramichi in New Brunswick, Canada. We'll see you down at the river.
O'Donnell's campground right here in the Miramichi, some of the finest fishing in the whole world, and they're open year-round. It's beautiful, beautiful accommodation. So come and join Valerie anytime you want. Let's off to work, people.
We're with Evlock Jokes and Robert Taylor on the Miramichi River. And folks, this is half the reason why I come fishing. We just passed the rod off to Robert. It's a beautiful day. And like I've always said, I love to fish and hang out. I never said I was a great fisherman.
We've got one beautiful day happening here in the river. I'm with the old man in the river right here. He knows what to fish at. Hey! 23 inches, there you go. Black salmon, the Miramichi. It's a big one this time.
Yeah, we're just playing in the wind. We're not getting anything.
Well, come down, we'll show you how to do it. What the hell Glen's doing in the other boat? You can just tell the action on the rod how big that fish is, right? This is a different feel altogether. When it gets a big whoosh of the tail. No, there he goes. Oh, man. Whoa! This is the bigger fish. This is a real fish. There's nothing like a salmon, especially Atlantic salmon. And when they're really, 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 really good, when they're on the end of my rod. This is a big fish. Whoa! What a monster.
Spring salmon fishing on the Miramichi River can rear some great results. The spring salmon have wintered underneath the ice and are just beginning to feed.
There's a salmon, buddy. How big is he?
38 inches.
The salmon that enter the rivers in June through October are returning from their long migratory swim 3,000 miles away off the coast of Greenland. The Atlantic salmon, like Pacific salmon, are anadromous. They are born in freshwater, migrate to saltwater to grow and mature, and return to freshwater to spawn. The Atlantic salmon will repeat this cycle more than once, while Pacific salmon will spawn only once and then die. Perfect time to say we'll be right back with the Fishing Musicians.
Don't go away.
Okay, we're with Evlock Jokes, our guide. And Evlock, I just wanted to talk to the viewers. They might probably be a bit interested about the type of flies and the rig that we're using to catch these black salmon in the spring. It's a little different than in the summer, so maybe give us an indication. I know we're using sinking line, the type of rod we're using, and the type of fly. These are large fly and pretty hard to cast in the wind. You just show them, maybe give them an idea of what that is.
Well, again, the spring fish are feeding, so we use something to kind of look like a little fish in the water. This is called a smelt. And smelt and the golden eagle are the two normal flies, or the most used flies on the Miramichi River this time of year. And we use a sinking line in the spring instead of the floaters like we use in the summer. Plus, in the summer, the flies are only about a quarter that size.
Yeah. And this is sinking line to get down and get the fly down closer to the fish.
Yeah, that's right.
In the summer, it's a little bit different. You're using floating line.
Well, the water in the spring is
faster.
Well, it's twice as high as it is in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to get down. They're on the bottom. They're feeding, so you want to get right down like a little fish and work along the bushes. Fish are close to shore. And again, they're not in the pools like they are in the summertime. In the summer, we go to the pools. Now you just fish anywhere you can find a calm spot.
The fishing musician strikes again. Oh, there. Oh,
11 bags of trail mix and a pocket full of chew. I got the Coleman in the 4x4 and my trusty old is on the birches. The bears are
that's the smallest salmon ever caught.
We're heading for the Split Rock just to catch the August rush. There's fireflies and skeeters like none I've ever seen. The air smells of smoke, burning kerosene. Water rushes past us, it's heading for the strait.
There.
It's everything
That,
I love,
my friends, is my very first Miramichi salmon.
so I think I'll wet the line a while up to Split Rock.
Can you consider that a gross? How big do you think that is, Evlock? Yeah, Evlock can bring it up and show it to you. Nice. Well, usually in the spring, we never keep the black salmon here. We might keep sea trout, but it's not sea trout season yet until May 1st. So we're gonna let this fella go. Thank you very much. I'll kiss my first Miramichi salmon. Mwah. Just like that.
They're running up like crazy, they'll be hitting the Finland. And I'm gonna catch the odd one if it's the last thing I do. Two salmons and a brookie tucked up underneath the arm.
There we go.
Bragging to the last
Oh, thanks, Evlock.
one.
That's a nice one.
Shiny one.
So I think I'll wet the line a while up to Split Rock. I'll go
This guy's a little,
with my penguin.
he's a little harder to hold. You got him?
If I don't, he's going in the water. Look at that. That'll be a female Evlock.
It's a female, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about 32 inches, 33.
First time spawner. There.
Yeah,
Okay, so this would be about 5 years old, this fish?
that's 7.
7 years old?
They come with the growth, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Here, hold them around.
The Miramichi is one of the world's most famous Atlantic salmon rivers. Names like baseball legend Ted Williams have spent much of their time wetting a fly on these waters. The Miramichi River's main system meanders 217 kilometers deep into the wild, wooded heart of New Brunswick.
Whoa!
That's what the locals say.
Oh!
Just leave me
You jumper.
forever, and I'll meet you at the gate. But if I'm fishing at the Split Rock, you know I might just be late.
Number 6.
So I think I'll wet the line a while.
Oh, I'll play him out too much.
I'll go with my
Get back in
Fenwick.
there.
Party in my feather.
There you go.
Colts are in my vest and Mickey Finn tucked in my hat, and I go whistling through the alders like a
Well, that's my second day in the last 2 years in the river with you, and it was 2 of the best days of my life.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to the camp and have some supper.
Lobster chowder on supper.
A day fishing could not be complete without a fine meal at O'Donnell's camps on the Miramichi River in Doketown, and having a great late night jam with a little baby stuffed snowman.
That ain't all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take her down to the big old zoo. Norm's enough of that boat rack, yeah.
During our stay on the Miramichi River, we used O'Donnell's Expeditions and Cottages. And true to New Brunswick hospitality, the people on the Miramichi are second to none. O'Donnell's Cottages and Expeditions are a family-owned and operated outfitting venture on the Miramichi River in central New Brunswick, Canada. They are one of the largest ecotourism adventure operators in New Brunswick. They offer fully guided tours or individual rentals. O'Donnell's can provide canoes, kayaks, inner tubes, bicycles, snowmobiles, and snowshoes. And of course, we can't forget about the fishing. There's also hunting, wildlife viewing, and local tourist attractions.
We also have a conference room in this building, and we can handle a group from up to 20 people. We're small and we handle small groups, but when we do that, we can give them the personal service.
Stick around for more of the Fishin' Musician. You're now entering the cave.
Can't catch a fish if you're lining in the water. Can't catch a fish if you're lining in the water. Well, if your rod don't jig, you ain't got a chance. Make that old Mickey fin dance. Can't catch a fish if you're lining in the water. Can't catch a fish if you're lining in the water. Oh yeah! Can't catch a fish if you're lining in the water. Well, if your rod don't jig, you ain't got a chance. Make that old Mickey fin dance. Can't catch a fish lining in the water. I can see you can catch a line sitting there by the riverside, worrying about the way you look. Water never sees you hook. They say that you're the best, never seen you with a fish on head. Got a pole and a big old net, never seen you get him wet. Can't catch a fish if you're lining in the water. Oh! Can't catch a fish if you're lining in the water. Lining in the water. All right, Glen, come on now, take it out. Oh yeah. So you say that you're the best, never seen you with a fish on head. Got a pole and a big old net, never seen you get him wet. Can't get your fish if you're lining in the water. Oh! Can't get your fish if you're lining in the water. Well, if your rod don't jig, you ain't got a chance. Make that old Mickey fin dance. Can't get your fish if you're lining in the water. One more, come on. Can't get your fish if you're lining in the water. Can't get your fish if you're lining in the water. Well, if your rod don't jig, you ain't got a chance. Make that old Mickey fin dance. Can't get the fish if you're lining in the water. Let's go. Can't get the fish if you're lining in the water. Can't get the fish if you're lining in the water. Well, if your rod don't jig, you ain't got a chance. Make that old Mickey fin dance. Can't get the fish if you're lining in the water. Fish if you're lining in the water. Yes, one break time.
The Atlantic salmon are known as the king of fish around these parts. Their capacity to return back to the same stream where they were hatched has captivated and mystified biologists for hundreds of years.
The fish hatchery is important mainly, I feel, because right now the stocks of Atlantic salmon are dwindling all over the place, okay? And with a facility like this, you have the capacity to incubate and rear over 1 million eggs those eggs you can take and put into the local rivers to actually help to increase the salmon population in the rivers. Other than that, right now, that is pretty well the only real way that you can actually increase your salmon stocks. The status of the federal hatcheries right now are, for the most part, fighting to survive, I would say. Funding and financial resources are scarce for this type of operation. It's a system that's proven to work. If you take, for example, the Nipisiguit River, for instance, this is a river that was basically almost wiped out in terms of the salmon population on that river system. And then the Nipisiguit Salmon Association came up with a plan with the Department of Fisheries and Oceans to start stocking the river, basically. And since then, this project has been ongoing now for over 15 years. And that project on the Nipisiguit River has brought back the Atlantic salmon to quite a substantial amount in terms of numbers of fish on the river system. Allows the seamen to swim to eventually find an egg, to fertilize the egg, and then afterwards this whole process will take about 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, 98% of my eggs will be fertilized.
Is a fish hatchery a worthwhile investment? This is the question. And if you do the research, the biological statistics prove that it is, of course, absolutely needed. The Nipisiguit River near Bathurst, New Brunswick would not be as vibrant or as healthy as it is today if, firstly, the Nipisiguit Salmon Association never existed, and secondly, if the Charlotte Fish Hatchery was not in operation. These two exist today, but what does not is enough financial support. The Charlotte Fish Hatchery feeds salmon to many of the rivers in northern New Brunswick, which in turn brings in millions of dollars for the province in tourism and employment.
Bob Chesson called me up one day in the fall of 1976 and said, if we're going to do anything about the river, we need to get a group organized. So we got together and we made up a list of names of people we thought might be interested, and we called them up and we had our first meeting in October of 1976, and the Nipisiguit Salmon Association was born. Nicholas Denny's the explorer, and he complained, or his men complained when they were sleeping beside the river at night that the fish were so noisy that they couldn't sleep. This is back in the 1600s.
How many fish would you assume? I know it's hard to try to...
Well, it's hard to tell because this river is only a 17-mile-long river, but it's certainly, so it's pretty difficult to know how many fish that... We know that we had close to 6,000 fish in this river in 1988. One year. That was probably our best year ever. And probably may have been the best year for who knows how long, We do know that there were a lot of fish back in the old days, though, and the first recorded instance of fly fishing was on in 1845, I believe, up around Grand Falls, and there were a party of 4 caught over 100 salmon and maybe 20 groats in a few days, despite only having 1 canoe and 1 gaff.
On the black salmon theme, it's May, and I'm fishing right in the heart of my hometown of Bathurst, New Brunswick, Canada. Everyone else is working, it's a Tuesday morning, but I'm out fishing.
You may be wondering what we're fishing for: spring salmon and sea trout, speckled sea trout. The story with the Atlantic salmon is they make their migratory swim upriver from off the coast of Greenland up to about 3,000 miles from here, from northern New Brunswick. They do this on both sides of the Atlantic. They come up these rivers, the rivers in which they were born, not eating, finish eating, spawn, stay underneath the ice for the remainder of the winter, and then springtime comes, they start feeding heavily on smelt. Okay, I'm going to hardware. I'm going to use my other rod here. Yes, sir. As soon as I changed to hardware, folks, I got myself a fish. And I believe it's a salmon, but I could be wrong. It doesn't seem to be very big. It would be nice if this was a trout. And I think it could be. No, it's a salmon. It's a nice sized one too. Wow. Oh. As soon as I went to hardware, it's a nice black salmon. Awfully fun. Oh, and it got away. Well, quick release, folks. As you can see, it was a fairly decent sized salmon. First cast with my trusty old Red Devil. Always have luck with the hardware. It's much more fun for me catching it on the fly, but I knew there was one in there because I saw it come up and grab my fly. It didn't really take it. So I figured, try a little cast in there. Sure enough, first cast, I'm gonna get it. This is a nice one. This is a bigger one. Boys, the hardware is working today. Oh, this biggie, yeah. Oh, not that big, but fight. The other one was twice the size. Fight like that, or is this a trout? Beautiful. No, it's a black salmon. Spring Atlantic salmon. Here, buddy. Ooh, feisty.
Where the sky opens up to a great North Sea, where rocky shore
Hard to tell here.
sings to
Thrashy.
me, where my northern spirit longs to be in my own home. Where each new sea
What am I doing? Just get that in here.
where the people dance along to the night, and each day I wonder when I might
That's a black salmon. Spring Atlantic salmon.
this is my
It's got leeches all over it, which isn't cool. Release this one back to the wild. It's ready to go. Atlantic salmon. Back to the wild for another day of fishing with the black salmon. Spring Atlantic salmon in northern New Brunswick, Canada on Middle River. We'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome to the Fishin' Musicians.
Hi, folks, it's Glen, and I am so proud to be living in the small coastal city of Bathurst, New Brunswick, Canada. I was born in British Columbia, but now have lived here for most of my life. For your next vacation, please join us. It's an awesome spot. For all your information on Bathurst, visit www.bathurst.ca. Well, that's another show in the bag, folks. Until next time, I'd like to say thanks for watching. So, thanks for watching. Keep your lines tight, your guitars in tune, keep the peace, and please conserve our waters, conserve everything. We only have one world, so let's keep it for our children and their children and their children. And when you come to Bathurst for a visit, tell them the Fishing Musicians sent you and stop in at the Bayview Drive-In because like they say there, if you like the show, tell your friends. If you didn't like it, don't say nothing.